I had always loved the forest, with its towering trees and the sweet aroma of pine needles. As a child, my friends and I would often venture deep into its heart, chasing after each other and playing hide and seek. But as I grew older, I began to feel a sense of unease whenever I stepped into the woods alone. Today, as a young adult, I decided to take a walk in the forest to clear my mind. I left my phone behind, wanting to disconnect from the chaos of the digital world and connect with nature instead. As I walked, I felt a sense of serenity wash over me. The rustling of leaves and the chirping of birds accompanied my thoughts, and I felt at peace. However, my peaceful walk was soon interrupted by a strange feeling that crept up my spine. The trees seemed to close in on me, the sunlight diminishing as I ventured deeper into the forest. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just my overactive imagination. But then I heard strange noises, like whispers carried by the wind. I turned around, but there was no one there. I picked up my pace, wanting to get out of the forest as soon as possible. But the path seemed to stretch on forever, and every time I looked behind me, it was as if the trees had shifted, rearranging themselves to block my way back. Panic started to set in, and I could feel my heart beating faster and faster. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, I stumbled upon a small clearing. In its center stood a dilapidated cabin, its roof caved in, and its windows broken. I hesitated at first, but then curiosity got the best of me. I stepped closer and pushed open the creaky door. The inside of the cabin was dark and musty, but in the corner I saw a glimmer of something metallic. I cautiously approached it, and to my horror, I saw that it was a machete, stained with dried blood. I wanted to run out of the cabin, but something compelled me to stay. I heard a faint whisper, and then suddenly, the cabin was filled with voices, whispering in unison. They were taunting me, telling me I couldn't leave, that I was now a part of the forest. I stumbled backward, my heart racing, and my mind reeling. Just then, the door slammed shut, causing me to let out a scream. I tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. I was trapped in the cabin, surrounded by whispers and the overwhelming feeling of being watched. I curled up in a corner, trying to make myself as small as possible. The voices grew louder, and I could feel a dark presence looming over me. I screamed for help, but the forest seemed to swallow my cries, leaving me alone with the horrors within. Hours passed, or maybe it was just minutes, but eventually the whispers stopped. The presence vanished and the door swung open. I didn't waste any time. I ran out of the cabin and didn't look back until I reached the outskirts of the forest. I collapsed on the ground, gasping for air and trying to make sense of what had just happened. As I caught my breath, I noticed a deep cut on my arm, as if someone had tried to grab me. I shuddered, realizing how close I was to becoming a permanent resident of the forest. From that day on, I never stepped foot in the forest again. I couldn't shake off the feeling that it was alive, that it was just waiting for its next victim, and I knew that I was lucky to have escaped its grasp. Years later, I still have nightmares about that day, but every time I close my eyes, I can hear the whispering voices and feel the weight of the forest's dark secrets. The forest may seem serene and beautiful from the outside, but deep within its core lies a horror that can only be understood by those who have experienced it, and I will never forget the horrors that lurk within the heart of the forest.